What's going on, boys? How you doing? SB Optimus is in here. CJ Fit, Vladi, Ricky, Yash. What's going on, guys? Let's just get right into it. Here we go. We got Spy. What's up, Emilio? How you doing, brother? We got Spy just melting up. It's still keep going over and over. Just keeps going up. I mean, you got to play with the trend, right? I did take some Spy puts today. I have my reasons. It's just because we're a little bit extended. The Friday candle showed me we're ready for some kind of pullback at least. It might not happen. Obviously, I could be wrong. But we have OPEX next week, which means huge options expiration on November 19th. So next week, last time they ran OPEX, they front ran it a week early. So that's why I took some SPY puts for next week. I mean, we're at all-time highs. Look at, we're straight up in a line all the way from 430 all the way to 470. So 40-point move in the indexes is not a small thing. What's up, Hyper? How you doing, Andrew? It's not a small move on SPY, especially in like 3 or 4 weeks time, 40 points up. So I took some SPY puts for next week just as I took it as a position. I didn't take it as a hedge. So if it does go against me, it will hurt. But I'm comfortable holding these, especially with all the gains we have made. And let's see what happens. Another reason I took them is because this close that. ES weekly chart. You guys will see my trend line here. If it wants to show it. I guess it does not want to show it. That is not ES. There we go. So the ES weekly, we have this huge resistance coming up. You guys see every time we hit it, we either stall and go sideways or we go straight down from it. So we hit it last week, and let's see where this week ends up. But from this trend line, it looks like we're either going to go just sideways, kind of up slowly, or we will pull back to the 8-day moving average as we have in the past. You've seen when it hit the trend line here, pulled back 4 days in a row. You see where it hit here, went kind of sideways for 4 days, and then pulled back 2 days. Over here, hit the trend line again, pulled back 4 days in a row. So that's why I gave myself time on those puts. I took next week's instead of this week's, just in case it takes a little bit more time. And those puts, they should work. Let's see what happens. QQQ, same thing, super bullish. Today was kind of just sideways in all the indexes, especially SPY and QQQ. The only thing bullish right now, looking on this chart, to me right now on QQQ, is that we held Friday's low. Friday's low is 397.16. And we did hold that today. We bounced off of 20 cents above there. So that would be one level to watch. To the downside is 397.16. So if we break through 397, we're due for a consolidation. Obviously, we're way off the 8-day moving average. You guys have to play probabilities here. I know you're hitting a lot of plays and getting really excited. But if you guys scroll out to the past, every time QQQ gets a little far away from this 8-day moving average, it comes back down to it. Almost every single time. You guys see it gets extended and then it pulls back into it. And the farther it's above it, the more it's going to go below it when it does pull back. Because remember what I told you about the market, there's always a median. Sometimes it overshoots to the downside, sometimes it overshoots to the upside, but it always returns to the mean. So same thing with the COVID crash, like I told you guys in March, we just way overshot it to the downside, and now we're way overshot it to the upside, obviously. So we just have to return to the mean here. And I'm seeing a pullback to at least 392 on QQQ, which is the 8-day moving average. Other than that, everything's still bullish. There's no reason to get in too many puts right now. Obviously, we're just hedging the plays that we have long. XLF just completely sideways in this range, like I told you guys from 2 weeks ago. As long as we're under $40.44 and above $39.92, this can just go sideways forever, like range bound. I know the market's melting up right now, but 80% of the time the market is sideways. That's why it's so easy to make money right now, is because we're in a clear uptrend. But XLF is going sideways right now. IWM, we sold those. So I had 235 December calls on IWM for $2. Remember that? We sold them this morning at $12. So we almost had 500x on our money. And other than that, I'm just waiting for a pullback. Same story as QQQ. We're just way too far ahead of the 8-day moving averages. We're getting a little ahead of ourselves, in my opinion, on IWM. I do see a pullback coming in all the indexes, either later this week or next week. I do think we're going to get that pullback. And when we do, I will load these IWM Decembers again, because I do think there's another run in it. But everything was green. I mean, everything we played hit. So there's nothing really to complain about here. VIX, even the VIX calls that I made as a hedge, those were green today. I sold those. Pinterest, some nice action at the end of the day here. We are bouncing off the bottom of that weekly wedge that I pointed out going into earnings. Obviously, this one has a lot more to do, but for right now, the weekly looks great. Like every single time it's hit the bottom of this wedge, the next week has been huge. So you see here, next week we are up 5%. See here, the next week we were up 5%. Right here, we hit the wedge. Next week, do we get a 5% break? A 5% would put us right around 50 bucks. If we get around $50, there's a gap fill. So that's my play on Pinterest right here. Above 51, we have a gap fill all the way to 57. So watch Pinterest very, very closely, especially if PayPal says something during these earnings. I don't know if the earnings are out, but if they say something about acquiring them, this one's going to shoot up again. That's why I'm still holding all my Pinterest Novembers and Decembers. DKNG chart set up great. Looks like it's ready to rebound, especially with all the sports open, everything. New York just approved them. It bounced off a very important support here, if you guys see. So I grabbed some DKNG at the end of the day there. I grabbed 50 calls for December 3rd. Obviously a little bit more risky than the rest of year's calls. You guys got December 17th. But I'm looking for a quick payout on this one. I'm not planning on holding for a month anyways. So let's see if DKNG can get a gap up tomorrow and a go. But for right now, we bounced off a very important support line. And it looks like the RSI is starting to curl up. Stochastics are still way down here. We need that to turn around. Other than that, I mean, the daily looks ready to bounce. The weekly is off important resistance. You can even extend this back here. This is why it's such an important support. Look at this. All the way from November of last year, we've been holding this $44 level here. 44.61, 45. And every single time we've gotten down here, the next week has been a big week. So let's see if we get that big week this week. Or if we have to wait till next week, we have time until December on these anyways. But I'm pretty confident on these. Look at Space. I told you guys I took 20... calls on Space. Why did I take calls on Space right through earnings? I never play earnings. But look at this chart. It's so broken down. Someone mentioned this stock right here to me, NEG. Last time I played NEG, we hit it for 400%. The whole group played it for 400%. And guess what happened the time right after NEG ripped? Space ripped. So this is where your memory comes in handy. Patterns come in handy. And Space had earnings after hours today. Chart looks extremely beat up. You look on the daily, you look on the weekly, they're all bottoming out here. It looks like just a bottoming pattern to me. 200-day moving average right underneath, and if you look at the daily, there's huge volume shelves right underneath here. Oh, I don't remember which pattern did I see it on. There was huge volume shelves on something on Space, I forget. Yeah, maybe just this one. Yeah, 1845, just a big volume shelf here. Let's see what happens. After hours, it looks like they're up. I don't know if they reported earnings already, but they went up to $21. Someone told me it wouldn't go through 20. But looks like our calls are going to be up big tomorrow. So congrats if you followed on Space. Let's see where we open tomorrow. Amazon just a dud today. That's why we didn't even play it one time. It's very extended. The 8-day moving average, remember, I use this 8-day moving average as like a probability. So the 8-day moving average on Amazon is at 34.33. Today we hit 35.79. Why didn't I play Amazon? Look at this. We've been saying since this turnaround down here, Amazon is going to gap fill all the way to 35.80. How many times did I say that in the group? How many times have you guys heard it in the group? We went straight up. We touched 35.79. I'm sorry, I was off by $1 on a $3,500 stock. But we touched 35.79 and completely reversed. And the 8-day moving average is way down at 34.33, guys. EPS negative 0.32, missed 2.58, beating expectations. Okay, so they got more revenues, but they missed on EPS. That makes sense for a growth company. It's nothing major in that, but revenues are up. That's big. They crushed revenues, actually. So Space might gap up even more tomorrow. Let's see what happens. But for right now, our call should be green tomorrow. Look at this candle right here, guys. 21 bucks. Let's see where we open tomorrow. But again, Amazon filled the gap perfectly to 35.80, dumped, and the 8-day moving average is all the way down to 34.33. So why would you buy Amazon unless it can break through 35.80? If it breaks through 35.80, that's a different story, but it just rejected right at the number. So I'm waiting for 34.33 now on Amazon. Other than that, I'm not taking a play. Lucid, we had 3 layers over the weekend. I called out the first layer on Thursday. Second layer was on Friday. We had Lucid leaps from so long. Why do you think I exercised some calls on Friday? Is because I think this one goes straight to 50 bucks, but I didn't want my calls to lose premium as it did. So my Lucid shares, I have a sell order at 50, just under 50 actually, because 50 is a whole number. And the 45s were up like 400% today. If you held the 40s, those were up like 700% today. The leaps are up almost more than 100%. So Congrats if you followed on Lucid, and let's see if I can keep going into the Rivian IPO on Wednesday. PayPal looks like it's up as well, 231 here, pulled back now, and it looks like it's trading at around 230. So we do have the 240 calls, but we have an extra week on these, so these should be decent. If we open up tomorrow, the call should be up still, but I told you guys to manage them. That's why I only played free calls on that one. Roblox. Let's see what Roblox is doing. The chart tells me absolutely nothing what's going to happen on earnings, but obviously, look at this earnings. Wow, 93.75. They're at 97. Wow. Okay, so Roblox is up massive. What are they at? Let's see this. 8 hour. Ooh, okay, Roblox is not all-time highs, but Roblox is up huge. If we open up here, there's only one level left on Roblox. It's just 103.20. 100 psychological, 103.20 on Roblox if it keeps going and opens up here. But this looks great. I think they crushed earnings just looking at these numbers. And other than that, I mean, I hope you guys had a great day. I mean, I had a great day. I had a great week. Let's keep it up tomorrow. Make sure you're hedged. Just because you guys are on a winning streak, don't up your position sizings. That's a big problem I had when I started trading. I would hit like 5-6 trades in a row, which were each $1,000, and then in the 7th one, I would feel invincible. I'd put all 6,000 in there, and it'd go to shit, so I'd lose all my profits. So keep your position sizing the same. Stay hedged, especially when it's time to hedge. Make sure you're hedged. And in my opinion, this week and next week is going to be very tricky. But for right now, it's a melt-up market. There's no reason to be bearish other than a small little hedge to protect against your longs. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for attending.